Jonesy.
Twitchy witchy girl.
Look what I found in Grandma's trunk.
I think you are so nice.
You look familiar?
I give you bowls of porridge, and I give you bowls of ice cream. Hush and shush, for the beldam might be listening. I gave you lots of kisses.
She spied on our lives
Lots of hugs.
through the little doll's eyes.
I never gave you sandwiches, but grease and worms among.
Saw that we weren't happy.
Coraline is a very interesting and mysterious movie. I mean, do you remember it? It's about a young girl who moves into the Pink Palace and goes off to explore because of boredom. She then finds this little door which leads into another world, a better world, with other parents and other neighbors.
She's got this whole world where everything's better. The food, the garden, the neighbors. But it's all a trap.
Because of this, she almost wants to stay. She doesn't want to return to her old, boring life.
She said that she loved us.
That is until the beldam asks her if she can sew buttons into her eyes, to which she refuses and tries to escape, but the beldam does not let her. She then does manage to escape, but has to return in search for her parents. The movie then ends with Coraline escaping with her parents and having released the ghosts, leading to a happy ending.
It is over and done with for us.
You're in terrible danger, girl.
I have made so many videos on this movie that I feel like I've uncovered pretty much all of its mysteries, but each time I go back to the movie, I'm like, oh wait, but what about this? And so that is why we're coming back to this movie. The thing that strikes me in this movie is the doll and how creepy this doll is. I mean, we first see the doll at the beginning of the movie. The beldam gets the doll who resembled Grandma's twin sister and changed her to resemble Coraline. That is when you first see the doll. But this is the doll's history. It used to be Grandma's twin sister. It resembled her. And it also resembled these other two children.
She spied on our lives
According to the children,
through the little doll's eyes.
this doll is used by the beldam to spy on their lives, to see what's wrong with their lives. So this is what the doll is for, to spy on them. And during the events of Coraline, the doll is introduced to Coraline by Wybie, who found it in his grandmother's trunk.
You stole that doll, didn't you?
He thought it resembled her way too much and decided to give it to her. Coraline proceeds to say that she's too old for dolls, but proceeds to play with it either way. She takes this doll everywhere she goes.
She spied on our lives through the little doll's eyes.
The very first time we see the doll move is when she puts her down at the table, looks out the window, looks at the portrait, I believe, and then turns back and the doll isn't there. She goes to look for it and she is now right next to the little door, which causes Coraline to find the little door, which causes Coraline to then go in to the door later on in the movie. But I would argue that we actually see the doll move prior to that. Here at minute 11:33, we actually see the head move a bit. You can argue that this might be gravity, but gravity reacts instantly. There was a delay here, but let me know what you think. But besides this moment, we never really see it move by itself. So the question arises, is somebody moving the doll, or is the doll moving by itself? Well, honestly, I believe that the doll moves by itself. And here's my proof. In the other world, whenever Coraline goes into her room, these dolls talk and move by themselves. So it's not really far-fetched to say that this doll right here moves by itself. Well, in my Coraline video part 2, I explain Mr. Bobinski's backstory. He is a liquidator. And this Chernobyl disaster, the fires were so big that they had to go on planes and spread sand all over the floor just to calm the fires down. And in that video, I explain that perhaps Mr. Bobinski is working with the Beldam because he talks to the mice. He tells Coraline that the mice told him,
"Do not go through little door."
and the only place we know that animals can talk is in the other world. So how did Mr. Bobinski know what the rats were saying if he weren't working with the Beldam? So perhaps he made a deal with the Beldam and got her the sand from the Chernobyl disaster, and that's the sand that she uses in the dolls to make them come alive. Regardless, remember when Coraline burned the doll after her parents were captured? Well, the doll is still alive. Let me explain. Sand is not flammable. It's not combustible because it's the product of combustion already. It has been oxidized to the highest level, so it doesn't burn. If this is the case, and if the properties of sand are not flammable, then perhaps the doll, the outer layer of the doll, can be burned, but what's within the doll, the soul of the doll, the sand, cannot be burned. Therefore, the doll cannot be killed. And this is pretty much proven at 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 20 some seconds. Because when she does burn the doll, the fire goes out almost completely. And that is because sand takes out fire. This is why the Beldam decided to switch from cotton to sand. Because with sand, if they tried to burn the doll will always win. Therefore, the Beldam will always win.
Witchy girl. Tain't all bad, miss. I give you bowls of porridge, and I give you bowls of ice. Thou art alive. Thou art still living.